G'day everyone, this is Health Highlights. Health Highlights is a show about health professionals and the people and the stories that are behind the names that we hear about, but we seldom get to meet. Now, as a part of this great organic special that we've been doing, we wanted to take you behind the scenes of an organic farm and show you some of the practices they use and how they do organic farming. So today we are here at the Pear Organic Farm in the Upper Hunter, and we're here with Mark Brown. How are you, Mark?
Good, thanks, Simon.
Thank you so much for showing us around and letting us have a look at your farm. It is great to be here in the great outdoors. So firstly, what is Purple Pear?
Purple Pear is, what we set up Purple Pear for, Simon, was primarily as a model permaculture farm.
Okay.
It's small-scale farm, and we're hoping to be able to produce a model that can be replicated towards sustainable food production in urban areas and peri-urban areas.
Brilliant. So the question is there any purple pears?
We have pears. You can see them netted over there,
I can.
Their colour's just wrong.
No.
There's a whole wonderful story about how we got our name.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that we've got the time for it.
Can you give us a brief, quick summary?
It is, yes, I can try. It actually comes from a biblical reference in the Garden of Eden.
Right.
And the forbidden fruit grew on the tree of knowledge, and
Yes.
it was, of course, an apple.
Yes.
The fruit that was Adam and Eve were encouraged to eat freely from was from the fruit of life. And that was the fruit of the tree of life was a purple pear.
There you go. Wow, that's beautiful. It's always nice to hear some of the stories behind some of the names. So that's great. So can you tell us a bit more of the story about why you're so passionate about having set up this whole farm and what the purpose of it is?
It came, I suppose, I did my permaculture design course with Bill Mollison.
Yep.
Back in the mid-90s. And, you know, I was exposed to the permaculture ethic, care for the earth, care for people, and a fair share, or a culture of sufficiency. And so carrying that ethic into all of my decision making just kind of led me to growing my own food, to being more self-reliant, to caring for people. And all of that just kind of built over the years into what you see around you, Purple Pear Farm.
And so permaculture, what's permaculture?
Permaculture works as a design system.
Yep.
We already talked about the ethic that guides permaculturalists, but the permaculture design system allows for the maximum utilisation of resources. It allows for things working together, similar to organic farming where you work with companion planting and those sorts of things. We purposefully design so that plants, animals, all, you know, fruit trees, annuals, perennials, all work together. They all have a system, and so they're integrated into a design rather than being segregated into plots and that sort of thing.
Wonderful. So it's a whole ecosystem really that you've created.
Exactly, yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so can you explain a little bit more about the permaculture design in terms of how the system works and how it sustains itself?
Absolutely. A whole system works on diversity.
Yep.
So we've got as many diverse animals in our system, as many diverse plants. We invite insects because even the pesky insects are food for those things that are beneficial.
Right.
So if we run out of bad bugs, the guys that are doing our pest control for us will go somewhere else.
Yes.
So we allow for the system to build an equilibrium, a balance.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it works. You know, you look at the zucchinis there, there's not a mark on them. There's a few little pumpkin beetles flying around chewing a bit, but generally overall everything is in balance, it's in control.
So talking about an equilibrium, do you have to work hard at actually creating an equilibrium for everything to grow, or does it just, you sort of set it in motion and it just does it itself?
Yes, you need to consciously think about the habitats that those things that are beneficial to you would like. You provide the conditions for everything to go. We provide habitat for little birds. We provide sunning spots for lizards. We even grow strawberries for blue tongues.
Wow.
Because apart from snails, strawberries blue tongues like the odd strawberry. So we keep them out of our strawberry patch, but we grow strawberries just for the blue tongues.
Wow.
Providing for their needs allows them to hang around, and it allows us to take the benefit of their intrinsic characteristics.
So that's how it sustains it, is pretty much you just try to keep that balance going, and then over the years and over the seasons, you just allow it just to keep on doing that its own ecosystem.
Yes, absolutely. And one place where biodynamics and permaculture meets is that we look at the farm as an organism.
Yes.
So
wow.
all of those spots on the farm all have a part to play in the other parts of the farm, so that they all come together and we get this integration rather than segregation.
So can there be a situation where you've maybe planted too much of one thing, or you've thrown it out of balance? Is that a common thing, or is that again where you just need to work hard at keeping everything at its level?
That's a good question. Generally it takes care of itself.
Okay.
We do from time to time make a mistake, and nature kind of comes in and whacks you behind the ear and says, wake up to yourself.
Right.
And that's important. It's important to me, because if we could just walk away and the system looked after itself, I'd have nothing to do and it'd be pretty boring. So I'm pretty happy that we have a really a strong part to play in nature.
Wow, and so I can see that there's got to be this strong connection for you as a farmer in what is happening in nature and that whole ecosystem, and it just is a beautiful thing really to really connect to the way farming should be.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you've got it there.
Absolutely. Well, I'm from the farm, and I grew up on a farm, and there's just something very healing and natural about farming and being a part of nature.
Yeah.
So let's go to the other side of things, which is the biodynamics and basically the design system that is. But I know that, as you said just before, it's actually not a design system.
It's an agricultural system primarily, and what it does is it looks for stimulating soil bacterias,
Yep.
soil biotas, building humus in the soil, and using the plants in such a way that they increase their nutrient density. The plants are treated, they're not treated with foliar feeds, for instance, and they're not force fed. They're given a fantastic soil to grow in,
Yep.
and they can select what they need to become the very best plant that they can be. And in becoming the very best plant, they become highly nutritious.
And so what are the principles then of biodynamics, and if they're choosing their own soil, how does that work? Because you place them in a soil.
We do, yes, but that soil is made up of all the macro and micronutrients that are available, that are made more available through the use of the biodynamic preparations.
Right.
So we're building soil and we're feeding that soil, and the plants get to have access to that soil. It changes a little bit. We sometimes need high calcium soils, and we will use one of the preparations, the oak bark preparation, in a concentration that brings in calcium forces strongly. And so you can manipulate it in that way, but by and large what we are doing is we're making good soil.
Awesome.
And the plants
plants just flourish. And so that's the big difference, is it? In the permaculture, you're sort of designing a system. In the biodynamics, you're developing a soil that then allows the plants to grow.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting. So there's another term that goes around in the organic world we're very interested in, which is an intensive orchard.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
So can you explain what that is and how that works here in this sort of ecosystem?
Well, think about a forest. Think about a natural forest. In a conventional orchard, trees have to be X meters apart, you know, depending on the tree, 15, 20 meters apart.
Yep.
Doesn't happen in the forest. Trees and bushes and shrubs and herbage and vines all grow together and they coexist beautifully. So in an intensive orchard, by designing the association between trees, you can actually grow with a specific tree the plants that support it. For instance is citrus.
Yep.
And one of the real problems in citrus is sooty mold. And this starts with scale. A scale will develop and the ants come and harvest honeydew from the scale, and then they track that honeydew all over the leaves and you get sooty mold growing on the sticky sweetness. So we can do a few different things. We can stop the ants from climbing up the tree, and to do that we'll grow a herb like tansy that deters ants, or pennyroyal if you've got a moist situation.
Right.
But you can also provide habitat, you know, prickly bushes around there for the little birds to hide in, because they don't like coming out in the open because the big birds tend to eat them. So if you provide that habitat for the little birds, one of their favourite things is to go along and eat the scale. And so you interrupt that scale as well with the effect of not having the sooty mould on your thing. So you design a system in there that is not just a monocultural orchard, it's actually a whole mixture of plants that work together.
Wonderful. And so really you're using nature to combat nature and actually grow some of these beautiful produce in a form that actually was designed for them to be in.
Yep.
Wonderful. Wow, there you go. I learned something new. I didn't realise that. That is fabulous. So I've heard that apples, there is a different temperature that certain apples grow in, and they actually flourish better and have better nutrients when they grow in a particular chill factor, I believe is it called. Can you explain that to us?
Well, it's certainly an endemic characteristic of different trees. Cherries, a lot of your stone fruits are the same as well. You will get tropical varieties, and these two pears are both tropical variety of pears. They fruit at a different time of the season and they don't need as low a temperature to set their fruit. Whereas a lot of apples, we also have the Dorset apple, which is a tropical apple, which sets its fruit at a different time to the Pink Lady and the Granny Smith. And so it works well for us in a warm temperate because we can have some of those low chill trees because we get a frost and that sort of thing, and we can extend it through to the subtropical trees, and that extends the season. So we can pick pears, not purple ones, sorry.
Yes.
We can pick pears for an extended period, and the same with the apples, you know, it just extends the season for when we can grow things.
Wonderful. Well, that's very interesting information, and thank you so much, Mark, for your time. We so appreciate you allowing us to come and to check out your amazing farm. I'm sure you guys have really enjoyed hearing a little bit deeper about what goes on in an organic farm. If you want to check out any more information about Purple Pear Farm, all their information will be on the screen for you right now. I thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you once again, Mark. Have a fabulous week. Remember, healing is a gift, health a responsibility. See you later.
Thanks, mate.
Beautiful.